Hello, my name is Paul Gilbert, and I'm the CEO of Quanser. And we're back at Quanser Café, where we're talking about AI and complex modern engineering. I've been inviting a number of global leaders in education to help me unpack some of the issues surrounding how we can modify engineering programs and engineering education to try and get ready to support more complicated systems that exist in the world. You can find out more about the guests in each episode, as well as some of the projects highlighted in our conversations by visiting the links in the podcast description. If you're listening or want to watch the full podcast with subtitles, visit the Quanser Café on quanser.com. The topic for today's episode is encouraging holistic thinking to enable the smart world of today and tomorrow. As technology continues to evolve at a rapid pace, it's not just about developing advanced tools and systems. It's about fostering a deeper understanding of the broad impact on society. We'll be joined by Dr. Balázs Nagy and Dr. Yannis Yortsos to unpack how we can shape the engineers of the future, integrate ethical and societal considerations into technology, and embrace interdisciplinary collaboration to solve today's challenges. So why is encouraging holistic thinking relevant to AI and complex modern engineering? I'm pleased to welcome back Dr. Balázs Nagy, who is Associate Professor at Budapest University of Technology and Economics in Hungary and the current president of SEFI, to share his thoughts.
Yeah, well, the question itself is quite complex and holistic already as the theme of this Word Cafe. So I'm really happy to talk about it. And obviously, I contacted some of our experts, both in SEFI and in the ELISA Alliance, as you have mentioned already, that I'm working with, which is a new initiative within Europe that you might be familiar with. It's the European University Alliances, when we really try to get together and make a sort of system thinking to be in a complex environment and try to design the engineer of the future. Because we think that we live in a really fast and rapidly changing environment, which affects a lot technology, but it's already affected by technology. And well, let's face it, AI is the biggest hit on the market nowadays, and we constantly talk about AI. And we try to understand AI as from the engineering point of view. So we not only are on the application side and the user side, but we also already on the designer side of the AI systems. And this really requires a global oversight of this technology. It's not enough that we know some of the basics or some of the focused aspects of artificial intelligence, but we really need to have a global system thinking. And this is something that engineering educators try to give to our students and try to introduce to them to this kind of system thinking that determines AI in a certain way. And if you just look at our basic activities, for example, in SEFI, we are going to have the annual conference coming up this September. I just browsed through the program. It's just full of artificial intelligence topics. So people are really keen on understanding and designing this new, but not so new thing, because this is already the fifth wave of AI. But now we have the computational capacity and we have the data knowledge behind that makes it really a very strong tool for everyday life, but also for engineering design. So when you look at the program, people are trying to touch upon the matters to understand the culture of AI. I would compare it to something like learning a new language, but not only the language itself, but also the cultural thinking behind. And as we know from the engineering perspective, AI is basically a black box. We do design it, we create the algorithms, but how it's being processed and self-developed by the artificial intelligence, it's really an unknown. So we have to understand how these large language models work, how the generative AI really works, and is developing itself, and we are co-developing it together by human means. But at the end of the day, we want it to use it for human purposes.
So, I mean, go ahead. No, sorry to interrupt. I mean, the notion of AI being ubiquitous and being everywhere is something which, we've talked about, and we actually recently at a conference in Sheffield where it was a very important theme of that conference. And my thinking is also around the students coming in to the university when they start, what their perspective of AI is, and how do you kind of blend that into an engineering education? What do you think that some of the challenges are in doing that?
Well, the biggest challenge is from the educator side, because when the students come in, they are prepared for anything. They have the mindset very open and flexible, while the professors, they have to catch up with that, especially with regards to new technologies such as AI. So the university leaderships, just like the conference you mentioned in Sheffield, which was about our deans conference for engineering educators. So the leaders, they have to understand the use of this technology, the limitations, the challenges, and all the human aspects. Otherwise, the students will start to use it anyhow, but we will not have the means, not to control it. I don't like the word controlling it, but to foster it and to see the opportunities once it comes to education, and of course the challenges. So first thing to do is to educate the educators. And that's what I see a very good examples on some of the universities throughout Europe, including mine, that they are organizing sessions for the educators to teach them upon ChatGPT, on the large language models, on the common AI tools. And also you can go into the real research part of AI when you go into the algorithms, these different convolutional models, how to build them up for your own purposes, and how to provide the students with a skill set within AI that is useful to them, and they don't get lost in the multitude of information that sometimes they cannot interpret, we cannot interpret. So it's really a challenge to teach the educators and bring them up to a certain level that they are able to transfer the means of AI towards the students. You can already see many people, not only students, but also professors, trying to use the AI tools without any pre-training, I would say. Sometimes you can do it, of course, yourself. From internet is quite good for that, but it's better to do a systematic approach by the university leadership to create sessions, to create courses for your own educators and PhD students and so on to get familiarized with AI.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because you talked about the fifth wave of AI, which has been, around since the 80s, I think. When it was first, well, the term was coined before that, but then it started being used. Computers were able to kind of take advantage of it. And now AI is a broad umbrella with lots of techniques and ways in which it can be used. So you mentioned this notion of building blocks or having a framework which the students can put into place. How challenging is it, do you think, to get the educators or the faculty around the world to really embrace this notion of learning how to use it and then creating a framework and then teaching?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think we have another option. So we will have to get into that. Yes. Because if you look at statistics from the world around, they say that in the next couple of years, more than 90% of practicing engineers will use AI tools in their own jobs. So if we don't teach our students how to use it, they will be basically not knowing this technology when they go out to the job market, which will, of course, not increase their value too much. So we have to educate our teachers to do this. Of course, there are some backdrops once you try, but many, especially the young professors, when they come into the university, they are already part of the digital era. So for them to pick up something like AI tools is not that hard. For my age, for example, we are a bit more experienced. For us, we have to change our mindset, no question, because we are used to do our own presentation, looking up data in the different sources. Now, the AI will do that for you, and your challenge is to revise that data and authenticate it in a certain format.
Thank you once again, Balázs, for taking the time to chat. So how can we enable young engineers to appreciate the holistic approach they should be taking as engineers? Yannis Yortsos, Dean of the USC Viterbi School of Engineering, is back with us to share what his university is doing in this area.
So we created a new program at USC now maybe 3 years ago. We call it Engineering in Society. And this program offers a number of courses for our students, which essentially address the fundamental problems, including ethical issues associated with technology. And it's sort of a part of the general education courses of the university, but we want to make sure that people understand the significant technological component that's associated with that. Programs like this exist, I think. I think Virginia had an ethics program in society, I think. It used to be at the National Academy program and then moved to, I think, to the University of Virginia. Maybe, I think MIT may have a similar program. I'm not sure if it's an undergraduate or not. But it's something that is a necessity given, you know, I mean, when we see the world around us, we realize how important it is for our students to understand the tremendous power they have in their hands when they graduate and the potential for bad actors or the way to misuse it. I mean, it's, you know, this is typical of the conversation that we have, you know, on television about guardrails and, you know, what do you do with AI and what if AI, you know, gets out of control and things of that type. These are, you know, sort of a science fiction items of a few years ago that are not too far from people to ask in a real way. And so, yeah, it's so this requires a lot of thinking. I think I look at technology and humanity in some sort of a double helix that is moving forward. Because technology will affect how we live as humans, and at the same time, we have to be able there to influence the direction of that. So ethics becomes an important, I mean, of course, we know that. And the question that has been asked many times is, you know, do you impart values in the technology itself, you know, in AI and and technological automata, which I know many people believe that you should not, because different countries may have different values.
Right.
And different values may not necessarily be consistent with each other, and then you don't want that. So it's a fundamental, interesting problem as well. I should mention that at USC now, we created within engineering a School of Advanced Computing. So this is I mean, I can talk a little bit about that if this is of interest.
Yeah.
You know, many universities, you know, there is a centrifugal force for computing to get out of engineering. So you have it at Georgia Tech, you have it at GMU, Cornell, I think, has something like this. So there is a bit of this sort of a, you know, gravitational repulsion, if you wish. At USC, we had not a similar thing, but we received a very significant gift from a foundation that we were able to use in a way that it was up to our decision. It was unrestricted. So we decided to create a School of Advanced Computing that stays within engineering. And so this School of Advanced Computing includes computer science and also electrical and computer engineering. Now, the reason we have that is because, as I mentioned, I'm a chemical engineer. I think there is what in chemical engineering is called a hydrogen bond between computer science and electrical engineering. In other words, it's a soft bond, but it's there.
It's real.
They don't want to break it.
I love that analogy. Yeah.
So we decided to keep it within the school, and there's a director for this, and then we have the ability to create what I call faculty affinity groups that are included in this School of Advanced Computing, but they come from different parts of the university. You can have, let's say, people from social sciences that do computational social sciences, and they can have a true appointment in the School of Advanced Computing, or people from medicine that do advanced computational methods in medicine, and then have a true appointment in the School of Advanced Computing. So we want to create this very strong interdisciplinary and enabling sort of an item that emanates from within engineering through the School of Advanced Computing, but then has its extension and its application across the entire university. And this is something that we have been doing for the last year or so. So hopefully this will be a successful experiment. And many of the faculty of people that I talk to, visitors that come in and talk to me about that, they're very excited, not excited, but they find this to be an interesting new construction, and we'll see where this is going to go.
Well, yeah, honestly, from my just listening to the way you described it, it's really exciting to me because I've been kind of on my high horse a lot, talking about the lack of technical understanding or engineering understanding in policymaking environments, like for the government, whether it's the federal government, the state government, the local government. There's just not enough knowledge, and it's because as you pointed out, technology is impacting every aspect of our life. So we do need to have those guardrails put up, and people understand the technology
100%.
to do that.
Yeah.
So and I love the fact that you talked about this affinity, or it seems like there could be a gravitational force pulling people into the orbit of the advanced school of engineering, whether it be from business, whether it be from healthcare or political stuff. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, we're not doing this for, within engineering to sort of it's not a territoriality thing.
No, I see that. Yeah.
It has to do with the fact that, it's a natural place for this to be. And actually, if it was to move out, creates actually a lot of adverse consequences. I know that MIT has a new Schwarzman School of Computing or something. I think it's College of Computing or something, which had to battle with this thing. And there are structures that include reporting structures to two or three different entities. I find this to be, I think the approach has been to help create something interesting and new. At USC, we try to do this in a different way, and so far it works very well.
Well, I mean, it really leans into this idea that both the engineers that are involved and working alongside people from different areas, they get a better sense and understand the holistic impact of technology. But I think there's another one which I think is really important, and that's the ability to have those discussions, not just understand it, but have the discussions. And I'll give you an example. My eldest daughter, she's a lawyer. I was the biggest. Well, she's a fantastic lawyer. I should be careful what I say, but I haven't won an argument with her in the last 10 years. Because not only was she good at debating when she was young, then she went to university and she spent 3 years learning how to construct an argument and have a debate and a discussion. And my fear for the engineering students is, in a lot of cases, you might not get that opportunity. So you graduate, and then you're faced in the real world having to debate with a professional debater.
Absolutely.
The skills don't exist. So this kind of approach is fascinating.
Yes. Yeah, actually, that's actually what you're saying is actually very true. And on the different direction as well, there are now a lot of new startups that come in to bring AI and other techniques into law. I think actually I was reading the other day, there is a company called Harvey. I don't know if you watched Suits, but Harvey is one of the characters there. So I don't know if they named it after him.
It's funny, actually. That's good.
The two founders of this, by the way, are USC graduates. One is a computer scientist, and the other is a law graduate. So it will be interesting to see where they're going. It's kind of an interesting area.
I have a dream. I mean, one of the things that, obviously, what we do as a company, and a lot of we're trying digital twins into the world. I have this dream that we could be able to provide simulated environments where you can put technology in there and you can create, in a safe way, a digital experience.
Absolutely.
And ask challenging questions and have people from different disciplines, play around with it and what happens, what doesn't happen, and why should we?
I don't think we're very far from that.
Thanks again, Yannis. It's been fantastic to have you with us this season. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Quanser Café. We had a great conversation today about the importance of holistic thinking in shaping the smart world of today and tomorrow. From Balázs, we learned how critical it is to integrate systems thinking into engineering education and the role of AI in transforming both the classroom and the workplace. Yannis highlighted the importance of ethical considerations, interdisciplinary collaboration, and preparing engineers to engage in broader societal discussions. As we look ahead, it's clear that fostering a deeper understanding of technology's impact on society will be key in preparing engineers of the future. Stay tuned for our final episode of Quanser Café Season 2, where we'll be discussing about developing professional skills such as lifelong learning and ethics. We're keen to hear your thoughts about the season or potential topics or guests to feature in future episodes. Please leave comments or connect with me on LinkedIn. And to learn more about Quanser, visit quanser.com. I'm Paul Gilbert. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.